Hi there. Welcome to La Trobe University's International Student Services presentation about studying with families. You might be a new international student bringing your spouse and children from overseas, or a new domestic student moving from interstate, in which case some of this information might already be familiar to you. However, we hope that some of these tips might be some use as you start your new life as a university student with family members in Melbourne, or indeed at any of our regional campuses. Undertaking tertiary studies is an undoubtedly rewarding and enriching undertaking that will greatly add to you and your family's prospects and opportunities. And it's a wonderful example for you and your children to demonstrate to your kids that we can all learn new things at any age. As well as being an exciting opportunity, it can also be a challenge if you have family members, and particularly children, accompanying you as you move to an unfamiliar environment. You'll have to cope with study and work demands without the assistance of your usual support networks, such as family and friends and relatives to assist you. However, there are many benefits for you and for your family. Victoria is a wonderful place to raise children, and the staff here at La Trobe would like to give you a few tips to help you and your family prepare and settle into your new life in your new home, and to adapt to the challenge of studying with family in Australia. Some of the information that I'll touch on during this recorded presentation are health requirements for children in childcare and preschool in Victoria, some of the schooling options for your kids, and a bit about our primary and secondary education system, some health services, travel and transport with kids, where to find playgrounds and recreational facilities, and some information about our on-campus services that are available to students studying at La Trobe in Bundoora. If you're studying at one of our regional or city campuses, please check with your campus student services staff about the services and supports that are available to you there. Topics such as spouses looking for work, setting up a household and supporting a family on a budget are covered in some of our other resources that will be available on our International Student Services website. If you're travelling to Australia with young children, there are some important things that you can do before you leave home to prepare for you and your family's smooth transition into childcare or preschool. Most childcare centres and kindergartens and primary schools even require children to be fully immunised or vaccinated against specified childhood diseases in order for your children to be enrolled there. It's a good idea to contact your family doctor before you leave home to make sure that your child is fully immunised prior to arrival, and to bring their medical and vaccination immunisation records with you. There's a list of all the required immunisations in Victoria that can be found online. After you arrive, consult with a doctor or an immunisation nurse to ensure that your child has received all of the required immunisations. This information will be then checked and transferred to the Australian Childhood Immunisation Register, and you'll be issued with an immunisation status certificate, which you must provide to the childcare service before they can be enrolled. There are catch-up vaccinations available from your local doctor or your local council who may run a vaccination program, but sometimes an extra cost applies for these. There are a range of different childcare and schooling options available for your children, depending on their age and your individual preferences. Fees vary for all of these services, and eligibility for government subsidies or childcare benefits are determined by the Department of Human Resources, or DHS, or Centrelink as they're known as, Criteria for government subsidies often require permanent residency or citizenship. So please be prepared for the costs of childcare in Victoria because it is very expensive. Childcare is available for babies, toddlers and preschool under 5 years old. There are also playgroups for preschoolers and their parents or caregivers. These are usually held at community venues such as maternal and child health services or community centres. The playgroups are normally informal, low cost, run by parents or caregivers. Some playgroups are for specific cultures or religions or language groups. Check with your local maternal and child health nurse or your local council for a playgroup that caters for your particular and individual needs. There are also special needs playgroups for children with disability or language or cultural requirements. You can search online for these at playgroup.org.au. Kindergarten is offered for children aged 3 and 4. This is before they start school. Usually it's a few hours each day or for a couple of days per week. It's not compulsory, but it does help them to prepare them for primary school. Some kindergartens are run through the local council, so ask your local council for more information or follow the website links on your screen to locate a kindergarten service near you. Some childcare centres offer a kindergarten education program as part of long day care. If you have school-age dependents with you, it is a visa requirement that you enrol them in primary or secondary school, unless you're on an Australian government scholarship. You will be required to pay school fees. The Victorian Government Schools online website has useful information and lists of schools at www.education.vic.gov.au. That's on your screen. Primary school starts for children aged 5, which is when they start prep, and goes up to grade 6. So that's for children aged approximately 11 years. So children who turn 5 before 30th of April are eligible to start primary school. There is sometimes before and after school care provided by your local primary school so that you can drop them off before school starts and pick them up at the end of the day, as you may be studying longer than the school day. You need to check with your local school if you want to access that service. Secondary schools or high school starts at year 7, so that's for kids aged approximately 12 years of age and runs through till year 12 or VCE, Victorian Certificate of Education, and so then that goes up to for kids aged 17 to 18. More information on the links on the website on your screen. There are different sorts of childcare available. For all of these options, fees and waiting lists apply, so you really need to register early to secure your place. Firstly, there is community childcare, and that's offered through your local council. There's also private childcare centres where you need to register with each service individually. Family daycare, which when your child is placed in the home of somebody who is a registered carer of children, again, that's available through your council. And there's occasional care, so some childcare facilities or neighbourhood houses offer short-term occasional care for small children, maybe just for a couple of hours on an ad hoc basis, which is useful if you have an appointment or you need to do some shopping. La Trobe University has a childcare centre on campus, and I'll provide some details on that in the next slide. Again, places can be very difficult to come by for all of these childcare facilities. So it's a good idea to do your research early before you arrive, and if possible, put your name down on the waiting lists, as it can be very hard to get a place at your preferred service. Also, really be prepared for the costs of childcare, which are quite high. And so research your school and childcare options before you leave home. And as I said, register early. As I mentioned, there's a dedicated childcare service available on campus at La Trobe University in Bundoora. They provide sessions of about 2.5 hours each session, or long day care from Monday to Friday, 7:30 in the morning till 6:15 at night. And they offer these services for children aged birth through to 5 years old. The costs for these can be quite expensive and vary according to your student status, whether you're eligible for a rebate, your visa, your income, as well as the care types and the durations of the care. So you need to actually contact the childcare service to find out which fees apply to you. Just as a range, costs go from about $22 per hour $22 for a 2-hour session, depending on your rebate entitlements, up to about $132 Australian per day, or $547 per week for all-day care. Again, child care demand for these places is very high, and we recommend that you make an application when you are thinking of undertaking your studies here at La Trobe University, Bundoora, and have your name placed on the waiting list. It's also suggested that you explore other options for childcare nearby through your local council. For more information, please contact the telephone number on your screen for the La Trobe Childcare Service directly, or email them at children@latrobe.edu.au. In selecting a school for your child, there are many different options to choose from. For either primary or secondary school for your children, and your choice will depend very greatly on your individual choices, your values and your preferences. Factors such as proximity to your accommodation or your university, whether you prefer public, which is government run, or state schools, or private. Often private schools are privately run, non-denominational, sometimes religious, such as Catholic schools. Sometimes they're co-educational or single-sex schools. Fees, or which schools, the fees vary from school to school, as well as the English language programs and different subjects and so on available at each school. There's a very wide range of schools available, and so it's really up to you to research the options on the websites listed on your screen. For the government schools, you'd have to apply to study at a Victorian government school through the study.vic.gov.au website, and there's a dependent application on that website. Private schools, you apply direct. Just keep in mind that the school year runs from late January or early February and runs through to the end of December each calendar year. School day normally commences at 9 o'clock in the morning and finishes at 3:30 and runs Monday to Friday. There are 4 terms, normally with holidays between each term. Dates can be found on the websites listed, and some individual schools, particularly private schools, their holiday dates may vary a little bit. Just be aware that school holidays may impact on your study time. Local councils and community groups and some schools offer school holiday programs, but again, please be prepared for these additional costs. Your family's health, very important factor to consider when moving to a new area, particularly with children. It's important to be prepared and familiarise yourself with the health services that are available, if possible before your child falls ill when you really, really need them. So the first thing would be to identify and find a local general practitioner, a local doctor or GP service. Visit the practice and familiarise yourself with their service, with their opening hours. For international students, you can locate a family doctor through your overseas student health cover provider, who might be able to bill the service directly. Each local council also offers free maternal and child health services for local residents. Parents can make appointments to have their children's health and growth reviewed regularly to discuss any issues, get advice, and also get referrals to other services. Your local council will be able to give you more details for this. Please note that that's not a medical service, so call your local council to get the number for the maternal and child health centre closest to you, or check the council website for details. In a medical emergency, you always need to call 000. This is a free call and will dispatch an ambulance as soon as possible to wherever you are located. So you need to give as much information as possible, including the street address and condition of the person who needs assistance. It doesn't cost anything to call an ambulance to your house or location, but there are costs associated with then being taken by an ambulance to a hospital. Ambulance cover is included in your OSHC health insurance for international students, but hospitals are for emergencies only. Most medical issues can be dealt with by your general practitioner or your local doctor. If you do if your children particularly need to go to a hospital, the Royal Children's Hospital, which is located in Parkville, about 20 kilometres from Bundoora, is a very wonderful hospital, but that should be used for medical emergencies only. Their website, www.rch, on your screen, has an abundance of really useful and reliable information for families in many languages. Also, the Austin Hospital is located on Burgundy Street in Heidelberg, which is close to the university, and that also has emergency centres. Again, their website is on your screen. There are a lot of helplines, telephone helplines that are available. These are free and confidential and very useful if you happen to be at home with sick children and you don't know what to do. Your OSHC providers are likely to have medical phone services, so please check with your OSHC provider. Pardon me. Please check with your medical health service provider and attend our orientation information sessions for new students to get more information about general health services. So firstly, there's the maternal and child health line, where you can talk with maternal and child health nurses who can provide information and support and advice to families for children from birth to school age, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Nurse on Call provides immediate expert health advice from a registered nurse, again, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Parent Line, which is a counselling service for parents who are struggling with issues around parenting. Kids Helpline, which is a free confidential phone line for children who are aged between 12 and 25 years old if they want to talk to somebody. The Poisons Information Centre, again, which is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week advice line, can give advice and information about suspected poisoning or mistakes with medicine. If your child drinks something that they're not supposed to and you don't know whether that's going to be an emergency or not, you can contact the Poisons line and they'll be able to talk through what the likely consequences, whether you need to go to a hospital or not. And the National Home Doctor Service is an after-hours doctor service where you can request a home visit from a doctor after 6 p.m. on weekdays or 12 noon Saturday and all day Sunday and public holidays. Really good idea to have these phone numbers printed out, put on your fridge to refer to when you've got young children, you're at home and they're sick at night, that you can go to these numbers printed out on your fridge. Really useful to have when you've got young children. Travelling in cars and public transport with young children in Victoria, there's a couple of important laws that you need to be mindful of when you're travelling with children, either in a private vehicle or on public transport. Particularly if you're travelling in a car, all children under the ages of 7 must be properly restrained in a car seat when travelling in Victoria. Children must be in either a baby capsule or a booster seat and must be wearing appropriate safety restraints. You can be heavily fined by police if you don't comply with these laws. Children under 7 are not permitted to travel in the front seat of a car, and all passengers in a private vehicle in Victoria must wear seatbelts at all times. If you're travelling on public transport, children under 4 years old can travel free, and children between 5 and 8 years old can travel on a concession card using a Child Myki card. If you're using a pram or a stroller, getting on and off trams and buses can be a little difficult, but usually your fellow passengers will offer you some assistance. Many services and supports for families and children are provided by local government. So in Australia, there are 3 tiers of government. We have federal or national government, state government and local government. So the local government comprises of councils or municipalities, and they provide services and facilities to local residents. It's a good idea to check which council you're living in and to find out which children's and family services are provided to residents. Sometimes these include libraries where you can borrow books and even toys for free, maternal and child health services, as I mentioned before, school holiday programs and playgroups. There are many services that are offered through your local council, and events and festivals and activities that can be really fun for kids. To find out which council area you live in, you just follow the link on your screen, type in the name of the suburb that you're living in and the postcode, and that will give you your local council and direct you to their website, where they will often have information available in different languages. Some of these facilities will provide libraries, toy libraries, as I said, recycling, school holiday programs and parks and gardens. And you can get a free information pack from them if you call them or visit your local council. I might be a little bit biased, but I think that Victoria is a wonderful place to raise children. There are so many things to do, and there are many free or cheap, safe and easy to access services on offer that offer wonderful learning and enjoyable opportunities for children and families. As I mentioned, local libraries, parks and playgrounds, cinemas, lots of creative art and cultural activities in the Central Business District, especially during school holidays. Beaches close to the city, the list goes on. Find out about the events and activities available in your area on this handy website listed on your screen, Melbourne Playgrounds. As well as you can find events listed through your local papers. A local council and libraries also often have public notices advertising events and activities for children. Managing your competing responsibilities as a parent and a student can be a challenge, particularly when you're under stress and trying to meet your study and assessment deadlines, as well as trying to meet your family's needs. Remember your goals for studying and how it will improve your life and the life of your family. And please make use of the supports offered and ask for help with childminding during busy periods. At La Trobe, we do try and ensure that there is as much support available as possible to assist you as you undertake your studies. There are several services on campus to support and guide you. Our Equity and Diversity Unit provide breastfeeding facilities on campus with rooms, special rooms equipped with refrigeration, sink, baby change tables, power outlet and couch. The Equity and Diversity Unit also provides supports for students who are carers of a person with a disability, a medical condition or a mental illness. The La Trobe Counselling Service provides free, confidential, one-on-one counselling, groups and wellbeing support and resources. These will help you to take care of yourself and give you permission to set boundaries and expectation so that you can get time for yourself, for studying, to do some self-care so that you can fulfill your study obligations as well as support your family. Please follow the link on the screen for the contact details and to access some of the resources available to you on campus. As well as that, of course, there is the International Student Services, where we are available to provide you with individual casework support for any issues relating to your studies and your status as an international student. We hope that you found some of this information useful as you embark on your new and exciting journey, and we expect that it will be an equally challenging and rewarding experience for you and for your family. Remember, have trust and confidence in yourself and your abilities, that you can achieve your goals and that the outcomes will be life-changing, both for you and for your children. Don't forget to talk to people and reach out when you need help, and make use of the La Trobe University support services that are available to you for academic as well as for personal or family issues. Thank you, and we wish you all the very, very best with your studies, and we hope to see you on campus very soon.